welcome to the Zadzooks Happy Hour, a podcast providing commentary on the latest in film, TV, games, and comics. My name is Todd Stoll, and I'm joined by 25-year veteran reporter covering pop culture, video games, and technology for the Washington Times, Joseph Zadkowski. Are you rested and rejuvenated after 2 weeks?
Yes. Plus another hour nap tonight, yes.
Oh, you had a nap, too.
Yes.
Man.
Well,
we've even moved it up a day.
I was supposed to get my hair cut. You notice my hair's a little...
It looks good.
Unkempt.
Oh, you're getting it cut?
I'm getting it cut.
Oh,
that's even better. So maybe I shouldn't cut it.
I figured it was already cut.
No, maybe I shouldn't cut it.
Yeah.
It's the rock man in me.
Yeah. Wow.
I have nothing to say.
Fargo. I think we have a lot. Okay, don't talk about it.
Better Call Saul.
Don't talk about Fargo yet. I have them. I have not watched them.
I haven't
I am
either.
Up to date on Better Call Saul. I am loving it.
Yep.
I am loving it. I finished Goliath.
Which I told you was
Billy
great.
Bob Thornton.
Right.
Which I'm adding him to the list of America's treasures.
After this
John Goodman
series. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think, who else did we say?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. There's two of them in there. John Goodman's one of them. And now there's three because I have to add Billy Bob Thornton. He's great.
It must be great to listen to a podcast with two guys who have
nothing better to do.
Constant memory loss.
Hey, it's great. And now I'm into, I'm caught up at least on what's available of Schitt's Creek, so I'm good on that.
Yep.
And
3 seasons.
There's 4 seasons, but there's only 3 out.
No, there's 3 seasons only. It was renewed for a 4th.
Oh.
The 3rd season was on Pop, so you had to go on demand.
Okay, then I haven't seen the 3rd season yet.
Okay.
I've only seen the first 2.
Got it.
And now I'm on to Sneaky Pete on Amazon with Bryan Cranston and Giovanni Ribisi.
Great.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
It's not great.
It's goodish great.
Oh,
it's almost there. It's a slow burn, I think, but it's going to be worth it.
Just want to shout out to Comcast for screwing me again. They jacked my price up $30 a month. Got on the phone with the guy. He knocked it down like 20.
Why?
Because my
you're pumping too much bandwidth.
triple pay Xfinity, and then he tried to explain to me how all the great features I have. Like the one where I could use the Xfinity hotspot anywhere. And I said, oh, you mean the feature that you guys cut off for me for 8 months because it didn't work and you guys couldn't fix it? That feature? He didn't understand it. The one that they kept calling me and saying I had to get my modem fixed? Well, sir, you wouldn't be using a modem for the Xfinity hotspot away from the house. Yes, maybe you could have explained that to the technicians who kept bombing and pinging my modem until it broke.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Comcast. I know you love Fios as much as I love Comcast.
Fios has gotten better. They've stopped throttling me.
Yeah, well, I may be switching sooner than later.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So we have a ridiculous amount of stuff to talk about.
That's
and yet we're
why we
talking
just
about
wasted
Comcast.
10 minutes talking about Comcast.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 movies that both you and I have seen, and then you're just going to go off on the massive amount of content you consumed while on vacation.
That's right.
So
you have nothing to add.
Oh, I have plenty to add. It's
good.
fine. So the first 2 films, in no particular order, are La La Land and Hidden Figures.
Yes.
Let's touch on Hidden Figures first.
Okay. Now, I know you're a space junkie, so you really must have loved this movie.
It was good. It wasn't.
Right?
It wasn't. I had issues with it. There's some of it that's not factually accurate.
Okay.
That I knew about going into it, but it is sort of. It's a little disappointing to highlight those things in a film that's supposed to be about 3 women who did indeed serve as pioneers. And
now they were
Yes.
mathematicians,
Correct.
and human computers.
Correct. And one eventually became an engineer, the first female engineer.
Way smarter than me. One of them, Katherine Johnson, actually helped salvage that Apollo 13 near disaster.
That's correct. She was there up and through the space shuttle program and has a building named after her. So
that's right.
I mean,
we can touch on that in the extras.
I mean, there were a few scenes in the film that were unnecessary. Kevin Costner taking down a sign for colored bathrooms never happened.
Right.
Which I guess was for dramatic effect. I'm not really sure. And then at the end of the film, when
Well, these women really were treated like crap.
Yes.
I mean,
I think anyone who was black in that era was treated like crap.
Yeah, but this...
and Kirsten Dunst.
Yep.
She's cold as ice in this one, and it's hard to tell if she's just a royal witch or like is she doing it just to the black women? You never really can tell.
Right.
So this film stars quite a few pretty well-known people, surprisingly. Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Oh, dude, why am I blanking on his name? The guy who plays Sheldon. What?
Jim Parsons.
Thank you, Jim Parsons. Wow. That's really
horrible. You don't have your notes.
That's horrible. I know I don't. I'm off the cuff today.
That's fine.
And it was produced by Pharrell Williams. The music was written mostly by Pharrell Williams.
Right.
But it only had Fox 2000 money. It was seen as sort of one of those films that was pushed from 20th Century Fox to their smaller production house, Fox 2000. And I think there were a few issues that I saw with it. For the most part, it was great. I really enjoyed the movie. I think the guys who played the astronauts, especially the guy who played John Glenn, did not strike me as having the same amount of like gravitas in his voice and in his command.
I didn't even notice. But that would be something you would because you're a
it just was a little
aficionado.
Weird. There's a lot of CGI, obviously.
There's a lot of mixed stock of footage.
Yes, there is,
because you're showing,
and it's the launches,
video,
and then they didn't have camera equipment that was good enough to capture these things launching.
Right. So it's the Redstone and Mercury rocket.
Yes,
missions.
The Atlas rocket.
Atlas rockets. Sorry.
And it's great. I mean, it's great, and it's depressing.
Did we explain the premise?
The premise is 3 black women of many who work for NASA in a very low-level position,
right in the middle of the space race,
at the very beginning of the space race.
Couldn't be more stress-filled.
Right, and they slowly, with their exemplary skills, slowly but surely break down race barriers at NASA and advance among the ranks to become very powerful and critical people to the success of the space program.
Really smart math people were called human computers at some point because they had no IBMs.
And then they bring in an IBM and don't know how to use it.
How to use it, right.
So that was the mix of the CGI and everything was a little rough for me, but again, I get it for the budget. I enjoyed the story a lot. In the very end of the film, there is a go no go with John Glenn launching. And
are you just giving the movie away?
No, not at all. I mean, and he refuses to launch unless he gets confirmation from one of the women.
That's right.
And historically,
from Katherine Goebel Johnson.
Correct.
The other 2 women are Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson.
Correct. And they invite her into the room for the launch.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen. She was not allowed into the room.
Which is ridiculous.
So it's a great film. It's also just super depressing because you just realize that regardless of how smart these people were,
right,
they were still treated like garbage. And during that era, everyone who was black was treated like garbage. And it's depressing.
It's embarrassing.
It's
not only embarrassing, it's not that long ago.
No.
It's not that long ago.
And it's still happening today. Maybe not to the extent and as
ridiculous
and as like in your face.
Right.
But it still happens. And it's sad. I mean, it really is. It's super embarrassing and it's unnecessary.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's fine.
But a great movie.
You don't need the 4K UHD on this one. It looks just as good in Blu-ray.
Yeah, it looked great.
So I'm fine with that. The extras, my favorite extra, there was only a tiny 5-minute look at the dedication of the Katherine G. Johnson Computational Research Facility at NASA Langley, and there is an interview with Katherine Johnson for a little bit, which is really cool.
I think, is she the only one still alive?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Because they didn't really show at the very end of the credits.
Right. They just kind of showed
the
who
other
they,
two.
who they looked like.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing on the extras, you got to dig a little deeper, and it's not really part of the extras. There is actually a study guide for the film.
Oh, nice.
So
Because you want to do homework when you're done watching a movie.
Come on now. There's, and it's great. I mean, I downloaded it, and there's like 100 pages of stuff.
Yeah.
It's got a lesson plan on physics, computer programming, social studies, mathematics, history, and film literacy.
I mean,
you can't beat that.
The fact that these people were using floor-to-ceiling blackboards and using ladders to calculate mathematic equations that had never been thought of before.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether you're black or white. That's ridiculous.
Right. You got to appreciate that.
I mean, I mean, my grades in math in high school were awful.
That's right.
And it's like, it's unbelievable.
And my son's grades in math were awful.
Don't tell him you said that.
No one say anything.
No one say a word. Okay, can we move on from this one?
You didn't grade it.
Oh, I got to give it
Mr. Grade.
I'm going to give it an A-.
I'll give it an A.
Okay.
I love it.
Moving on.
We're going to go breaking.
Let's just speed through it because we've got so
killing
much
me.
to talk about. So, the next film,
Here it comes.
we're going to talk about La La Land.
So first of all, I just don't see you as a film musical kind of guy.
I hate him.
I mean, what's the last musical film music, not cartoon, but like movie musical you watched?
Oh, there's been quite a few of them.
Like,
well, I mean, obviously everybody's seen Mary Poppins. When seen
okay,
the Sound
we're going
of Music,
back pretty far
Sound
there.
of Music. Oh, when was the last? Like, I won't watch Chicago. I won't watch that. I won't,
Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, like that movie a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hated,
there is possibilities.
Hated this movie. Hated it. Just not a fan whatsoever.
Why?
Could care less. The first 10 minutes of the movie where they're doing that stupid freeway dancing because they're all
Oh my God! You don't even like the opening. You're done.
I thought the opening was garbage.
Oh boy!
Oh, we're dancing because we're stuck in traffic.
Oh
Wah.
boy! Oh boy!
Wah.
And it was an international group dancing in traffic.
Oh, hey, listen, that's fine. I know it's meant to take place in quote unquote present day.
I consider this a musical for the millennials.
Okay.
Because it gets by the end so narcissistic.
I hated it.
There is no happy ever after in this movie.
Listen,
which is what the earmark, as far as I'm concerned, of a Hollywood musical should be.
And I worked in Hollywood, so I've seen like the environment.
Right.
It's not like that at all. There's the coffee shop on the Warner Brothers lot is this little teeny tiny place that you walk into and there's a little bit of water and there's a little bit of coffee and that's it. And yes, you run into celebrities, but it's not this huge, like full on Starbucks where you can sit outside. No, every little bit is precious. So this whole argument of how like being a barista at this like very posh like coffee shop, it's BS. It's stupid.
So you're worried more about the plot points rather than the overall choreography and music?
I'm going to tell you what I liked.
Okay.
I liked the fact that Ryan Gosling spent 3 months and picked up jazz piano. And that's ridiculous.
The best part of the film.
And it is.
Far.
And it is. I will watch him. I will watch that dude play jazz piano because I got to tell you something. That's natural talent.
That's right.
I don't care what anybody says.
That's right.
That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Regular piano is hard. Jazz piano is harder.
Impossible. Right.
It's impossible. And his hands, effortless.
Fluid.
Effortless.
Right.
John Legend is in this movie. And he's like, that's ridiculous.
Right.
This guy sucks.
Right.
This is garbage. Okay. Did he ever sing? Like really sing, or did he just go?
No, there's the singing.
Because apparently he was in like a dance group, and like when he was a kid.
He wasn't a Mouseketeer, was he?
No, he was on Star Search.
Okay.
Emma Stone was fine. This whole like, you could just see the whole movie coming from a mile away.
But as far as I consider myself a little bit knowledgeable in musicals, and I found the music and the musical numbers, the singing and the actual lyrics really lame.
Okay.
Like,
did they seem like they repeated? Like, it seemed like the same. Like, okay.
And there was never any emotion.
There's a scene where they're dancing and they seem so stiff and they're doing the same dances in multiple scenes. It's like, what the hell is this?
This was not.
This was
Gene Kelly.
No.
Danny Kaye, even.
Bing Crosby? Tap dancing with Danny Kaye? Come on now. No, this wasn't. This was like Hollywood's attempt to highlight how hard it is to become successful in Hollywood and then the toll that it can take on your relationships.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's narcissistic, and I don't care.
Now, it looked good in 4K UHD. I'm just telling you.
I mean, it was very...
The colors, the primary colors pop.
Well,
that's the entire design.
Oversaturated everything in this
it's
movie.
It's a bit like Fantasia at points. The color's so
I'm
bright.
trying to think of like another film that's like a live action film where they did the same
Wizard of Oz. If you go from the black and white to when she gets into Oz,
and when
there's a color pop.
And I was thinking something sort of way off, and not stylistically different, but think about like Sin City. And the use of color there.
Yes. That's right.
Or The Spirit, which was a terrible movie, but whatever. I just didn't care for this movie at all. I found myself very bored. The songs were not good. I'm embarrassed.
But yet one of the songs won an Academy Award.
The one that he sings over and over and over and over again?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That one was forgettable in my opinion.
I like Ryan Gosling a lot as an actor. I think he is very good. He seemed rigid and stiff through this quite a bit.
Yeah, only comfortable when he was playing the piano.
And he looked ridiculous. I would hang out with that dude and watch him play jazz piano until
Now the extras, very satisfying, like 80 minutes covering the entire production of featurettes and optional commentary track.
Talking about how awesome Hollywood is?
Mr. Chazelle, is that how you pronounce his name? And Mr. Hurwitz, the director and the musical composer, who happen to be roommates at Harvard University. Mm-hmm. So that's how all this got started. Now, the director is from Whiplash, which is absolutely one of the greatest films I've ever seen.
What pisses me off about that is he crowbarred J.K. Simmons into this movie. Crowbarred him in. Crowbarred him in.
If one could argue, it's actually what might have ended up to the character in Whiplash. Right?
If they did a meta movie, it would blow my mind. It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Gone from disgusted with jazz to ending up running some sort of a restaurant piano bar.
Who wants a guy to play Christmas carols on the piano?
That's right.
But when I saw him, I was like, oh, come on. Really? This is your thank you for winning all of those awards is you throw him a bone in La La Land for like 3 minutes? Come on.
Now that you've seen this,
I would never see it again.
How do you justify that almost winning the Academy Award for Best Movie? How does it even get in there?
So here's the thing. You never will really know how close it was. Yes, they accidentally called the name and it was the wrong movie. But you really don't know.
No, you don't.
You don't. I mean, other than the fact that, they will always be in the annals of Hollywood legend.
It shouldn't have been nominated, as far as I'm concerned. There were so many better movies.
And I had a conversation with my uncle who was like hardcore conservative, like Trump lover. And I was like, what should have won Best Picture? Hacksaw Ridge.
Of course, Hacksaw Ridge.
And he was absolutely. He's like, I've seen all the other movies. I watched La La Land. Could have cared less.
Right.
And I'm like, me too. And you know what? I've talked to like 3 different millennials, female, and they were like, it was forgettable and I probably won't watch it again. This is not one of those musicals that you're going to go back to and watch over and over again.
Right. It will not be a classic, I don't think.
No.
I'll go watch Whiplash again.
Yes.
Gives me a stomachache watching it. It's so good. But I'll go watch it again.
The bloody hands in that movie. Miles Teller, it's so crazy. God. All right, are we done with this?
I think we're done with this.
Letter grade for me, C-.
Yeah,
almost a D.
Because I love the production design, I'm going to go with a B-.
Okay. Not my favorite, but not as bad as Masterminds. We'll be back.
Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't realize that Michael Rooker was bald. I had no idea.
You sure he just didn't shave his head for the part? He's got kind of like a...
It's been a while since they filmed this thing. You would think he'd grow it back.
Right.
But...
So what I'm talking about is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, not the movie, but the Telltale series. Do you know anything about what Telltale does?
Absolutely.
All right, tell me.
I've done the Walking Dead Telltale series.
You've played it?
It's like Choose Your Own Adventure, more or less.
It's like a click and play storybook.
Yeah, but they give you options, and depending on what you decide to do, like you could let's put it this way: you could replay the game multiple times and have a different outcome.
That's right, and it's episodic.
Yeah, it's an episodic, kind of like a Choose Your Own Adventure.
Right. So I reviewed the first episode of 5, titled "Tangled Up in Blue," and basically, it's not really part of the movie franchise. It's way more part of the comic book itself, except that the characters have the costuming from the movie.
Is there Star-Lord?
There are the key characters
Gamora,
of Star-Lord, Drax,
Gamora,
Groot,
is
and Rocket Raccoon, not voiced
by Bradley Cooper,
by anybody involved in the movie, from what I can tell.
Are they? Is it voiced at all, or is
Nolan
it read
North
along?
is doing Rocket Raccoon.
So is it adult Groot, baby Groot, teen Groot?
It's adult Groot.
Okay,
not baby Groot.
Because apparently, in Infinity Wars, he's teenager Groot. He's a moody teenage
Really?
Groot. Yeah.
I am Groot.
Vin Diesel gets a ridiculous amount of money to say, I am Groot.
Yep. God, I hate that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, this episode lays the groundwork for a story that's going to be about the complexities of family and what happens when you don't take care of your family or your family gets mad at you and stuff like that. And it's part of the group mentality also.
Is it written and designed by the Hallmark Channel?
I don't believe it is.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Or
Lifetime?
The group helps Nova Corps, which is the intergalactic police force.
From the first movie.
Yeah. Go after the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, which is a very cool character who you will see in the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
You've already seen glimpses of him a couple of times, so that's pretty cool.
Do we know who's playing him in the movies?
No.
No?
No.
They haven't said yet, right?
Yeah, they have.
Oh, they have?
Yeah. Do you want me to stop and look that up?
No, I don't. I was curious if that had been announced.
So basically in this game, you spend a lot of time talking to characters and deciding on what you want to say back to them. And you'll have this wheel at the bottom of the screen, and you'll pick a button on your controller, and that will allow the narrative to go forward.
How's the soundtrack?
So, of course, the soundtrack is awesome. It's got ELO in it. It's got the Buzzcocks, which is a nice group.
Interesting.
And they've got Hall & Oates. So there's three songs in it.
Just in the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
And roughly you're looking at, you play the game probably an hour and a half.
Oh, to do the whole game?
Couple hours for the first episode.
Oh, yeah. I would say it's probably a 6-hour game, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to go longer than that. But what's great about it is the character designs themselves, and it really looks like they took time to build the animations, and the costuming is perfect. And is that the reminder for your medication?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm foaming at the mouth a little bit.
And the other thing that's great about it is Rocket Raccoon is really grumpy throughout the whole thing, which we already know.
Isn't he always grumpy?
He is always grumpy. And when you get on their spaceship and start hanging out, you can go to their computer and you can access stuff on Peter's diary. Now, the best part about that, he's got messages from Howard the Duck and Cosmo the Space Dog, which is just perfect for a comic book geek to appreciate.
Wow. If they ever make an appearance in Age of...
Howard the Duck did.
But I mean, in like an Infinity Stone... That wouldn't be a wide
Where was
swing.
Howard? He was in the end of which movie? Guardians?
Didn't Howard the Duck have its own movie?
Okay, yes, it did. It was produced by George Lucas.
And it was awful.
Terrible. But
Who played Howard the Duck? Do you remember?
I have no idea. Warwick Davis? No, I don't know.
I hope not.
But he was in a recent Marvel movie at the end.
I didn't notice.
Oh my goodness!
I know that this movie, apparently there's 6 different scenes at the very end of the movie as through the credits.
Really?
Yeah. Various like states of it.
So anyway, the group has a confrontation with Thanos, and then they run into this reality-altering artifact. It's a reality. It's called the Eternal Forge. It kind of looks like one of those things from the Infinity Gauntlet, but it's not really. And it allows you to like warp reality, and there's some really nice family scenes with Peter and his mother, and there's also a good scene with Gamora and her sister, who's actually in the new Guardians movie and the first Guardians movie.
Yeah, who doesn't seem to hate her as much.
Yeah, she's one of Doctor Who's.
She's Amy Pond.
Yeah.
The Matt Smith companion.
No. Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was a nice, quick, breezy play, and the visuals were great. So I suggest you go out and grab it. It's $29.99 for a season's pass, and you're going to get all 5 episodes doing that.
Cool.
2 hours of fun.
Nice. Very good. You want to take a break?
Sure.
Do you need to regroup?
I need to towel off.
Okay. That was
because I did all the talking.
I know. That's hard for you. I'm glad you finally come out of your shell a little bit. And on that
Okay,
note,
you can go take your pill.
We'll be back.
Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news.
Isn't an Aliens movie coming out?
Yeah.
Like when?
Covenant?
Friday?
It's not.
Did you see the prequel clip?
Prometheus?
Trailer?
The trailer for it? Yeah.
That's cool.
Danny McBride?
No. The prequel.
For Covenant?
Yeah.
There's a prequel to Covenant?
There's a prequel trailer with Fassbender.
Oh, before Covenant starts?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
What?
This one's got
potential?
Yeah. Danny McBride, to me, looks just crazy enough to make it through a good portion of the movie before he gets killed.
Gets it.
But
now here's an example of not a good movie.
I think you might be touching on at least
Underworld
one.
Blood Wars.
Okay. Now, I'm going to point something out.
Have you ever seen one?
Yeah.
Any of them?
The first... How many are there now? 5?
5.
I think I've seen the first 2. And the first one was amazing. And the second one was pretty damn good, too.
Right.
This was unnecessary. This was like Die Hard 5.
Yep.
It didn't need to happen. By the way, they're coming out with Die Hard 6. Wow. Die Hard Year 1. Apparently, it's a prequel. It's the origin story of John McClane. I digress.
But
you've already seen the origin story. Nakatomi Towers.
That's right.
Kills
what
me.
was the origin story, wasn't it?
Kills me. Anyway, Resident Evil.
You might as well, because it's the exact same thing. By the way, I just got the latest Resident Evil Last Forever Wars or whatever it's called.
And let me guess, you're just
I haven't even
eye-rolling.
I haven't even opened. Yeah, I don't know which one. All right. So anyway, if you don't know already, Kate Beckinsale, who's gorgeous, she's in it now. Wasn't she in Van Helsing? I think she was in Van Helsing. Plays almost the exact same character, except she's got fangs. She's a vampiric female killing machine. Now, she's had some problems in the past because she's a death dealer, and she was hunted by her own kind and werewolves due to her killing things all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's a problem. And she's given birth to a kid who's now in hiding because the kid's now a hybrid.
And this is where movies tend to do poorly, when they run out of material and they try to spin it off to the younger child.
It's 91 minutes
of...
And the only scene you're going to want to go to is the end, where there's a big battle between vampires and werewolves. It's pretty cool. It's not, in 4K UHD, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
But Am I going to go out and buy that?
Do you want your 94 minutes back?
I do want my 91 minutes
91.
back. Actually, it's worse than that because there's 30 minutes of featurettes.
And I know you and your extras.
And
forgettable.
Oh my goodness.
Was it forgettable? Or did you just find a typo?
The worst. I tend to find those only when I'm doing this podcast with you and reading my own stuff.
That's fine.
There's a 78-page comic book on screen. Now, I got a 65-inch screen. I still couldn't read the dialogue bubbles.
Oh,
so
why bother?
In this day and age, guys, either a download code to go to a tablet or motion comic. If you really want to put that out like that.
Or why bother?
Right. Now, if you do the motion comic, I suggest you go to the Game of Thrones Blu-ray collections and look at those because they're spectacular.
But that's because it's HBO money, and HBO is...
They do a phenomenal... I'm creating new words on how great that is.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It's like your Emeril Lagasse's BAM, right? That's your new thing.
That's my new word, phenomenal.
Hey.
When I really like something.
So, that what's your letter grade?
It's a D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
tough.
good. I don't want to go back to it.
Okay, you shouldn't. Burn it.
All right, Assassin's Creed.
Another Michael Fassbender.
I was really looking forward to this because Michael Fassbender I really like. Jeremy Irons is even in it. I mean, this should have been good.
Yeah.
If you haven't played the game, have you played the game?
Yeah.
Any of them?
Yeah.
What do you like about the games?
The time travel was pretty amazing.
Right. Do you like being stuck in the room in the chair of the Animus and talking to stupid characters?
Not really.
Okay, well, that's kind of what this movie is. Except he's not stuck in a chair. He's hooked up to a claw, and he swings around, and he's a criminal, and they locked him in this research facility. And occasionally, he gets to go out and regress as a assassin in 15th century Spain.
So, do you feel like they tried to set this up to be a franchise where he time travels to different eras instead of attempting to try to do it in the first movie with maybe more locations?
Yes, maybe. But what I've always loved about the games is not only that you can, free roam through places you're never ever going to be,
right?
But you run into historical characters like Michelangelo and all these guys, Da Vinci.
What's a good video game that has turned into a movie? I can't think of one. The Mario Brothers movie was awful.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure I
one.
could come up with one, but it's hard.
They did the
Resident Evil was so spotty.
Right, and then they did Need for Speed with Aaron Paul.
No.
And that was bad.
Not Assassins. There's the guy who stars in Homeland. He's an assassin he's like a black ops guy. Peter Quinn. He was in some video game one, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I don't think that Hollywood has figured out what to do with video games and films. I'm going
to find one because it's just driving me nuts.
Yeah,
there must be one.
I mean, I'm just thinking back to,
Prince of Persia.
Terrible. Yeah, I mean, I'm drawing a blank.
Mortal Kombat.
No, it was not good.
Lara Croft.
I'm trying to think. Scott
Doom with The Rock was. Hitman was the one I was thinking of.
But that didn't do well.
It didn't do well. It was a bomb.
It was Timothy Oliphant, and it didn't do very well. And then they made a sequel to it, and that didn't.
Angry Birds movie was a cartoon. I don't think that counts.
You know what? And I don't think a lot of people really liked it. It wasn't.
It was all right. It was cute. Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, I can't think of any video game movies that have done well.
That's really sad, isn't it? Because I'm going through the list right now, and there's nothing there.
I mean, Super Mario, like John Leguizamo, and why am I blanking on his name? The guy in Roger Rabbit.
I know. I can
Hopkins,
see his face.
Bob
Hoskins.
Hoskins. Yeah, he was a great Mario, but the movie sucked. Yeah.
Nothing.
No, there's
I've
nothing.
looked. I'm looking
No.
at Wiki right now.
You can't. If
Which
you
is ridiculous.
If you hear of a movie that's coming out based on a video game, it's gonna suck. It's just. Let's put the disclaimer out there now.
Because I'd rather play the game.
Yeah. So anything more on Assassin's Creed? How are the extras? Did you enjoy them? Were they?
The most interesting thing about the extras is how passionate these guys are about this movie, and how they absolutely want to treat the source material as reverential as possible. They want to make the best movie based on this video game series. And Fassbender is just obsessed with doing it. And it's sad to watch this because they don't, okay? I mean, yeah, it's got parkour in it. It's got the great wrist blades in it. It's got the fall, the leap of faith. Where it's got all the parts you want in the movie, but it just doesn't deliver. And for one of the first times I've ever seen, the director and editor comment on 22 minutes of the deleted scenes, and they actually talk about a character that was completely cut from the movie, and they go into detail on why she was cut. But when you watch the scenes, you realize, man, she probably should have been in there. It's a 14-year-old girl who was really doing a great job with Fassbender acting.
There's been a few films where I've seen deleted scenes where they've pulled people out, and you're like, oh, that would have been better if it was in there.
And the biggest mistake, as far as I'm concerned, at no point do they give you any way to access even a level of the game. You know how cool that would have been?
Yeah.
In the old days, I've seen movie releases where they would give you access to
Or
a
wouldn't
video
it have
game.
been cool if, like,
Look, it's a Blu-ray. It could have been...
Well, why not do like a split screen where like they go through like part of a world and Fassbender's on the left and the video game characters on the right and they line it up.
Lots of ways to do this.
That would have been fun.
So anyway, sorry. It should have been, could have been, but it wasn't. It's not splendid. I forgot the word that I created. Anyway, this is another D.
Scrumptious.
Scrumptious.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Now what?
I think that's our time.
That is so depressing to end on that.
That's well,
Was there anything positive? I can't even remember. The show's been so long.
Hidden Figures.
Better Call Saul.
I mean,
Mikey.
Fargo.
Goliath.
Schitt's Creek.
That's right.
Sneaky Pete.
Right.
Game of Thrones has got pushed back because they wanted to film it in the winter.
Because they have to.
Because they had to.
Right.
So they delayed it. I'm excited for it.
Are you going to go see Guardians?
Probably not.
Right. I think I'll wait.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. There's a lot of movies that are coming out that I'd like to watch, but it's lack of time.
We shall see.
And there's a lot of good TV.
Yep.
So thank you.
I'm Todd Stowell.
And I am Joe Zadkowski. And I'm going to go take a nap. And then I'm going to get up.
I'm wide awake now.
And then do 2 hours. And then I'm going to go take a nap.
I'm going to go watch Split.
Oh. I heard that was good.
That'll be coming your way.
Okay.
All right.
I heard it was good.
Yep.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Thank you.
Sayonara.
We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we're on YouTube now. You can check us out. Zadzook's Happy Hour.
So you can ignore us on YouTube also.
Thank you. Bye-bye.